one of the things I really like about founders in Virginia is that they're very go big or go home. Why are you the one to solve the problem? We're not looking at your financials and your models just to see, that you're going up and to the right. Do you understand what's coming down the pike?
This is the last episode of year 6.
Year
Fervent
6.
Four Show. Yeah, because technically we're going into a year 7, right?
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's just crazy that that much time has gone on. It's been a lot of fun.
Okay, so we are recording this live. It is the 18th of December.
Yep.
Last night, Old Dominion University football played in a bowl game. They won. They beat South Florida, I think.
Yeah.
Great for the local team. But what was interesting is I was like, they won 10 games in a season. And I was like, well, this is interesting. I wonder if they've ever won 10 games before. And then, I look and I'm like, oh, wow. So they played it was basically this was their 6th season or 5th or 6th season since COVID when they closed it down. I was like, damn, it's been that long. That's a crazy stat to think about. What I hear on that is we're just getting old. Timothy Ryan, what do you think about that?
I think for the purpose of this show, maybe I should change my name to Zim, because
Zim.
We got the double Zion. Z going on.
Yeah. We're all here for it, Delighted to have today's guest on. This is going to be
fun.
A load of fun. We met her for approximately 3 hours on a day in August in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And
one of the mystery secret judges.
Yeah, at the Cup back in August. I don't even remember what day it was. It seems like so long ago. August 21st, maybe. Who knows? Anyway, has come up with multiple names since then. So, ladies and gentlemen, Z the VC, also known as Zakiya.
Hello. How's it going?
Great.
Fantastic.
Good to see you again.
Great to see you both.
What are the origins of your name? Where?
Ooh. Okay. Zakiya. So first, let me tell you, I was born without a name. My dad wanted to do it biblical style, where he's like, let me see you first. Let me see what characteristics you have before I name you. And so I was born, Raleigh, North Carolina. The first day I was born, he and my cousin go to the NC State Library and get 3 name books. He says, the third book, the last letter of the alphabet, I find Zakiya. Zakiya is Swahili. It's of Arabic origin. It means intelligent or smart. Alta, if you know Spanish, means tall or high. And Lee means plower of the fields, and it has a Chinese origin. Hill, okay, look, I just got married a couple of years ago. I don't know yet. High. Heels are normally kind of high, so we'll go with that. But the other 3, I'm pretty sure are right.
Okay, so Alta does mean tall. Hill also means tall. But if I recall, you're not that tall in there. So we're like, did you marry a hill? We're trying to compensate to build that back up in there.
Let me tell you something. First of all, I'm 5'6". Do not come for me. I'm taller than the average American woman. And I may not be tall in physical stature, but if you have ever met me, you know my personality is taller than yours. It's probably taller than the ceiling, Zach.
Yeah. Yeah, because I remember Zach, what was the letter grade that we got from Z the VC?
It was a 7 out of 10.
It was
which
high.
I took that as a very high, because she has very high standards of where she has performed and been a performer in the past. So to get somewhere in that range, I took that as all right.
It was
we're on to something.
Room to grow.
Let me tell you something. You have a differentiator. I cut you off, Tim. Go ahead.
No, the 7 that gives us room to grow. I mean, nothing is ever really truly a 10. So
I think it was great.
Go on.
I was very entertained. I was shocked. It was definitely a pitch competition where you're not going to get sleepy or get bored. Let me tell you something. You guys are doing something really cool. And when the band came on stage, I really felt like I was at a Hawks game. I was like, let's do this. It was great.
I like to tell people this, not to just like they're 7 miles down the road. That's literally like Old Dominion University's marching band is 7 miles down the road. The difficulty to get a band, 20, 30 people to 7 miles down the road, you'd be shocked at how difficult it is. It's probably easier to invest in a company than to actually get a band down the street. And I'm dead serious. The amount of moving pieces, like
You
still
do
talking
arrange for the bus and a U-Haul and keep it all a secret.
Is the bus big enough to fit the big thing? Like, oh, they gotta have cases. Oh, by the way, like, did you order enough pizza? Nope. Like, never enough pizza, right?
Yeah. Y'all pulled it off though. I mean, and it was a shock when they came in. Everyone was like, "What is going on?" The crowd was hyped. You pulled it off, so congratulations.
Well, the whole purpose of that is to do exactly that, so that people. I mean, you invite someone to an event, if it's sleepy and boring, the likelihood of them coming back is very, very minimal. So we want to make sure that they come back. They invite a friend. And ultimately, this is for the founders to showcase the talent that we have across Virginia. So,
yeah,
from that standpoint, I think we did well.
You did, and it makes it exciting, right? So it's not just about the pitch competition, right? Normally, you go to pitch competitions, and obviously, that's the spotlight. The founders coming on stage, having the opportunity to pitch their product or service or what have you. But what this did was it made the entire experience interactive and fun. And so that it takes it to the next level. It takes the interest in startups to the next level. So maybe people who weren't necessarily interested in startups, they come to a World Cup event and they get excited about it. And maybe that allows them to look into startups, whether that means, help maybe investing in one day, maybe, supporting, advising one, whatever. So just like to have that excitement around the startup community is so important. And so what you're doing, what it really reminds me of, and I'll say this story really quickly, but and I haven't told the audience this, but I used to work for the Atlanta Hawks, and I remember when I first got to the Hawks, they just were not doing well at all. Okay. And I remember the entertainment people, they came to us, kind of the front office folks, and they said, we have to make this so entertaining that people almost forget that the team is losing. And we were like, okay. And if you go to an Atlanta Hawks game today, the in-game entertainment is so fun. So that like when the team is winning, it's extra fun, right? It's so incredible that it changes the whole ecosystem around the Atlanta Hawks in Atlanta. And so you all are changing the ecosystem around what it means, to have a pitch competition in your area in Hampton Roads. And so like just keep it up because it's very necessary.
How much involvement did you have in the Virginia ecosystem as a whole prior to that event?
Not as much, right? So we are, sourcing companies from there. We have invested in a really awesome company, Title Flight. So, we're sourcing deals, looking for companies in Virginia. But honestly, I hadn't had the opportunity to spend a lot of time. Our managing partner, Lister Delgado, he'd been there a few times and was doing some things in Virginia, but this was my first experience. And it was really interesting because the startups are different. The founders are different in Virginia from how they are in North Carolina to how they are in Atlanta. So it's really interesting. So you have a really kind of specific ecosystem in Virginia.
My job as a host is to hear what you say and then to question that, right? So define different entrepreneurs and founders in Virginia. What are you seeing different? Is that a good thing, a bad thing? How that statement, what are your thoughts on it?
I don't think it's good or bad. I think it's just different. So I will say one of the things I really like about founders in Virginia is that they're very go big or go home. Now look, I've been up there only a handful, twice, I think now. So I'm speaking in generalities. Please know that. But I find that the founders in Virginia, and it could be because, you all are close to DC, you're doing a lot with defense, there's just big industries up there. But the founders in Virginia are trying to solve like really massive problems. Like we're talking like unicorn, decacorn, like massive problems. And I love that. So that's one thing that I think is, from what I've experienced so far, is very unique to Virginia. Is every founder I talked to was trying to solve a massive problem, which is great. In other areas, they're still solving problems that need to be solved, but not everyone is trying to, get a huge DoD contract and like grow their company to, hundreds of millions of ARR annually, annual recurring revenue, et cetera, et cetera. As far as personality wise, I find that Virginia founders and CEOs are very serious, which I like. But I wanted them to, like, let your hair down a little bit. Let's just chat. This is casual,
Yeah.
And I find that in the South, they're a little bit more casual. Now, look, I think they get into certain rooms. You get into certain rooms, you get into board meetings, you better be serious and you better have your stuff together. But that was the only thing I wanted, because we're getting to know you for particularly for early stage. We're getting to know you as a person, right? And so I just find that Virginia founders are very serious from what I've experienced.
How did you get into venture?
Oh, okay. So that's a great question. My background has nothing to do with VC. Should I go into the whole? Do you guys want to hear like the whole background, or just
we got
specifically?
time.
Okay, we got a little time. Okay, so I've always been the type of person that believe you need to follow your passions. That's been my kind of philosophy since I was younger. And so when I was asked at 16 or 17 that question that we don't know the answer to usually, which is like, what do you want to do with the rest of your life? I had no idea. Okay. I barely knew what I wanted to eat for dinner, much less do for the rest of my life. And so essentially at the time I had grown up a dancer. I'd been dancing my entire life. I was a bit of a protege. So essentially what I did was I went to Florida State. They had the #1 dance program in the nation. And so I went there, I got in, I said, if I get in, I'm going, got in, went there, studied dance, undergrad in business, because I always had an interest in business. And also my dad was like, so what are you going to do if this dance thing doesn't work out? Thanks, Dad. I appreciate that. And so, yeah, I did that, graduated, spent 4 years in the NBA with the Atlanta Hawks, was on their dance team, moved out to Los Angeles, did film and television. Kind of what was the catalyst for change for me was that I started a business. I started a company called Z Pro Prep, essentially a consulting firm and training camp for women nationwide who wanted to become professional NFL and NBA dancers and entertainers. Okay. And so it was a great experience, help women make teams like the Lakers and the Nets and the Buccaneers and all over the nation. But what I understood, what I started to understand was that I understood the grassroots space, but I wanted to understand big business and enterprise, like what makes the world go round. And so essentially it was kind of like, well, what am I going to do? Who's going to take me seriously as a dancer, kind of in this space? And I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and go get an MBA real quick. And I had heard Duke had a great program. I said, if I get in, I'm going. Got in, went, did everything entrepreneurial you could do while you were there. I was a Melissa and Doug founder. I was a student founder, got my concentration in innovation and entrepreneurship, all the things. Then after school, I pivoted and made a really interesting choice and went into corporate for 15 months. But I quickly knew this wasn't going to be the move for me. And so this opportunity at Idea Fund Partners opened up and I jumped on it. And the reason I was able to get into VC is because our managing partner was looking for someone very specific, someone who had this, maybe some startup experience like a founder. There's that founder empathy piece. Someone who would be great in the community, kind of brand awareness, being out, pitching, reverse pitching, doing panels, things like that. Someone who would be great with LPs, with fundraising and all of those things. And he said, hey, I'm looking for someone with this really unique skill set. I can teach you venture math. And that's how I got the role. And I've been here ever since.
I have so many questions, period, Tim. This is where we normally play off of each other, but like, if you have something there, go. Otherwise, I got like 3 other questions, like off the things that she said.
Well, I think that just quickly in terms of with Idea Fund, what is your investment thesis? What stage, just so that our listeners, before they start bombarding you with their pitch decks and asks, let's just get that out of the way so that we know what you're looking for.
Absolutely. So at Idea Fund, we invest in companies, usually pre-seed to Series A, tech and tech-enabled services, but we are generalists. So if you look at our portfolio, we have, companies like Tidal Flight, right? Making these seaplanes, to companies like Planted, which is they make a sustainable building material, wood for homes that are better for the environment, leave less of a carbon footprint, etc. And then we have, of course, your B2B SaaS types of companies, AI. So we truly are generalists. Usually our first check is about 250 to 500 with larger follow-on checks as you reach those KPIs as it makes sense. And yeah, so like I said, pre-seed to Series A, and we are still invested. So feel free, send over the pitch
Yeah.
decks. And
All
even
right.
if you don't fit in that, like you can still hit me up on LinkedIn, send me your email address. I just started a little newsletter. I'm trying to help founders
Yep.
grow faster and better and make choices that I find myself saying this a lot as a VC. If I knew then what I know now, I would have done these things differently. And so I'm trying to help founders do things differently.
Nice.
Yeah,
Are
2 days ago.
You on your first fund?
Oh, no, great question. No, we're on Fund 4.
Oh, Fund 4. Wow.
This is our fourth fund. Yep. So we've been around. We're kind of the oldest. We call ourselves the oldest early stage startup in the Southeast. We've been around for almost 20 years. So
Wow.
yeah.
How big is Fund 4?
Well, so we officially close on December 31st, 2025.
Wow. Congratulations to you.
Raise the roof.
Thank you. So we'll see where we land. But we'll probably be in the 30s.
Got it.
Yes, but we're deploying capital. We've done a first close. Like we are deploying. We've already invested in, goodness, I'm on the spot right now, but it's either 16 or 18 companies. Like we're deploying.
Nice.
Very cool.
Yeah.
A couple of days ago, sent one of the first newsletters, if not the first, subject line, just a little tease for y'all. You're thinking like a founder. That's the problem. Oh, you want more? Okay, so a couple of things that I think is really interesting. So I think a lot of people look at bankers and they're like, okay, can they invest in me? Can they not? But then you have to learn about the criteria. Kind of like what you were just telling Tim, like this is kind of what we're looking at, like industry, like we don't really care about the industry, whatever. But there, you said something in the conversations with Virginia founders as like they're not as loose, they're a lot serious. So this reminds me, I took that as that they're right. Okay, so just
Okay.
So back in the day, we used to do at Hatch, we used to do these like weekly workshops, and one of the times we had a banker in there. His name's Brad Hunter, Town Bank. That's like the local bank here. And he said, bankers are looking at the 5 C's, right? I don't remember what the 5 C's are, but there's one of them that I do. And one of them is character. Mm-hmm. And what I thought about when you were talking about like the seriousness, I thought about like the character aspect of that. And he's like, well, all these other ones might be a little like on the fence. But if the character, we know that person is really good, that will lift up those things. He's probably sitting here listening, being like, can't say that, Zach. But like, if you're a donkey, it's likely that can sway you the wrong way. But if you're not a donkey, that can sway you, right? So in your world, like, is coachable, like what are you looking for in that character aspect of a person? Because they send you, like Tim just said, send the slide deck, send the email to you. Like, is there character things that you're looking for in the conversations? Are you looking for a gregarious person? Like, are you looking for someone that's like a Twitter troll? Like, what, like, how do you grasp like that this person is the right founder? Because one of Tim's favorite lines is bet on the jockey, not the horse type of thing. Yeah. And so it's all in this character aspect of it. Like, they're going to get there at some point. Yeah. It's just, hopefully it's this one, right? Like, how do you look at character from a founder perspective, from a positivity perspective, and something that you would be looking for to potentially?
That's a great question. And we absolutely, I believe, bet on the jockey and not the horse. So look, first of all, authenticity is very important. So like, don't come into me like, hey, how you doing? How's your mama? Haha. If that's not your personality, okay? Because it's going to come off super fake, right? It's okay to be an introverted founder. Some people are a little introverted, and that's okay, right? But I want to see a couple of things. One, I want to see a deep understanding and interest in the problem you're solving. Why are you the one to solve the problem, right? What is it about you? What insights have you discovered within this problem? How deep have you gone? Because that lets me know you're a very thoughtful founder. I'm looking for intelligent founders. So I'll give you an example. When you send over your financials, okay, we're not looking at your financials and your models just to see, that you're going up and to the right. Like that's not what it's about. The way you're constructing your financials, does it make sense? Do you understand what's coming down the pike? Do you understand, for example, if you're going to need to hire a CTO, what that does to your financials in year, insert the year you're going to hire the CTO, right? Are you being thoughtful in the way that you're thinking about your company, the pitfalls, and et cetera, et cetera? Then you said a word, coachable, right? Someone who can take constructive feedback, because at the end of the day, you're going to get a lot of feedback as a founder. And some of it is going to be good, some of it is going to be bad, but you have to understand how to take it, listen, okay, that's interesting. And then you decide from there whether you're going to implement it or not. If you're defensive, well, I'm not going to do that because, well, like, it's okay, calm down. Like, don't be defensive. Surround yourself with people who want to see you win, whether it's because they love you, like, your mom, or whether it's because they have an interest, like an investor. But everyone is trying to get you to a place where you're going to win. So being someone that can receive feedback, being someone that can pivot when necessary, being someone who is enjoyable to be around. We don't have to be best friends, but usually an investor relationship is very long, right? And so we'll be in touch, whether it's, talking through when we're going to wire funds, or talking through your next round and how much we're going to be able to invest, talking through, hey, we need your quarterly updates, right? So we can send it out to our LPs, right? Can you send those over? Like, just someone who is, pretty pleasant to be around. Those are things that we definitely look for. Someone who's a leader, show that you're a leader. And even if we give feedback, now I'm not saying you just have to take it, but like if we're giving you feedback, take it in, think about it, have a thoughtful response. It can be in agreement or in disagreement. Well, I actually disagree because of this. What are your perspectives on that? So just someone that's very level-headed. Those things are incredibly important. So those are a few of the things that we look for.
I want our listeners to hear this from you.
Okay.
One of the things that I am always preaching all the time is, and this goes a bit to what Zach is saying, the time to need a banker, the time to establish a relationship with a banker is now, not when you need one. The time to establish a relationship with a VC is now, not necessarily when you need one. So start sending those updates now. And so what is your thoughts on those monthly or quarterly updates? Are you always willing to accept them? Just touch on that a little bit.
Listen, that's a part of how we do things at Idea Fund Partners. We have an outbound process. So we go out, and that's how we invested in Title, actually. But we go out and look for every company in the Southeast, particularly Virginia and North Carolina. We want to talk to every company who's in the tech enabled space, even if you're not raising. And so if we're already getting to know you a bit, when you are raising, it definitely makes things a little bit easier. The due diligence is a little different. If you're a company we've been following, you've been sending us those monthly updates. It's also very important too to send those monthly updates, because let's say there is an interest in your company. Well, what I'm going to do, even if I haven't opened every monthly update, so when you send it out, when you look at the open rate, who opened it and who didn't, don't worry about that. When there's interest, a wise VC, in my opinion, will go back and open those monthly updates and look to see month over month or quarter over quarter how you've been doing. And if you've been achieving the goals that you say you're going to achieve, and how you've been handling, difficulties or challenges, and just seeing the consistency. So for me personally, send them my way. Happy to get the monthly updates. Happy to follow you on your journey because it definitely makes due diligence easier and the conversations easier when it's time to invest. So start the relationships now, right? And look, VCs are people too. We don't want to feel used. I don't hear from you like, hey, can I have some money? Hi, how are you?
Right.
But isn't that how people think it is? Like that's the
Well,
ridiculous thing. It's like it's like
yeah.
the
They
relationship, the character
do.
aspect. Like it's just like anything else. I mean,
I'm
it's
going to tell you something. I don't know how VCs got the reputation that they got. I don't know if it was just a few bad apples or what, but like the VCs that I know, they give their time, their talents. They sit on every panel they can. They drive to every pitch competition to try to help out that they can. They talk to every founder that they can talk to, you know, just to, you know, pick their brains for 30 minutes. Like they do as much as they can do to give back because they are there because they're interested in startups and they're interested in what founders are building. And so I don't know how we got this reputation of only being thinking about money and, you know, don't talk to me unless it's about a deal. I have no idea where that came from.
Yeah. Well, especially even if you want to take the most cynical approach to that, entry price matters. So you want to take an interest as early as you possibly can so that you can get the biggest return, upon a successful exit. So, you
Absolutely.
want to establish those relationships early as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And because we've seen it time after time, like a good founder, a good CEO, a good team, they can make something happen. Right? So even if the solution that you bring to us when we invest in it, even if you have to ebb and flow and pivot a bit and it change, a strong founder and a strong team will figure out a way to make it work. Right. And we want to know we're dealing with a strong founder, a strong team, someone with, morals. I know you're going to do business well. Right. I'm going to be honest with you. You're honest with me. Like that's just good business in my opinion.
I'm
I,
curious,
I
if you have an interest in a company, do they always know that you have an interest, or do you just, they may not have any idea that you're even interested in them until a certain time?
Well, I'll say this. There's companies that they get on your radar and you start to kind of follow them,
Hmm.
right? You may go on the founder's LinkedIn, just kind of look and see what they're doing. You keep seeing them mentioned in little articles that, yeah, VCs are definitely looking and they may or may not approach you
Yeah.
immediately, depending on, where they are. It could be where they are in their fund. They could be in a place where they're like, hey, we're rebuilding our pipeline for the next 3 months. So they don't want to engage you too early, right? Because they don't want you to get excited and then they not invest in you for 6 months or 9 months, whatever. But I think VCs are always looking.
Yeah. Well, and the reason I bring that up is just in the sense of, it's like, to the founders out there, you don't know, you may not think that anyone's paying attention, and you couldn't be more incorrect. You always have to have the viewpoint of people are watching and people are paying attention despite what you may think.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. So yeah, every day building, having that character, doing the right thing, even when you don't think anybody's listening, that all pays off. That all pays off.
there's a company we had on a couple weeks ago. Where to Wheel. They are the Airbnb for off-roading parks. So think someone has a bunch of land
Mhm.
and it just sits there. And so they bring on off-road vehicles, four-wheel drive vehicles like Jeeps.
Huh.
And then they're able to give the landowner a profit from the land, from just using the land to go up some hills, go through some rivers, whatever.
Wow.
So correct me when I'm wrong on this, Tim, because he knows that this aspect a little bit better. But they started sending in, they were in Jason Calacanis's
Launch
launch program,
accelerator. Yeah.
and they send out these monthly reports, the financial reports. And I guess their numbers aren't astronomically huge from, I think, what some people are expecting, but because they were very accurate and articulate and just very diligent on it, it got some of the team at launch to see it, and they started taking even more note and got more interested in the company because of how on point Brittany and team were in that situation. And so that makes me think that like, okay, like it is good to send those things, but then maybe the reason why people are afraid is the Hollywood effect of this, where they're like, well, my numbers aren't here and I'm not super hockey yet. So I'm not going to send it. So they're not going to notice it. But here in our own backyard, someone that's been going after this for a long time is seeing that kind of growth and opportunity because they're just doing the little things, if you will. So
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Oh, go ahead, Tim.
No, I was, the thing that helped their case too, in addition to that, is that they had a product, they had customers, and they have a team. When you have those three things, then you can work with that. And especially from an investor standpoint, through networks, through whatever, you can help figure out what it is that you need to make those numbers increase. But they certainly had those three things. So the demand signals were there. And that is what you can work with.
Absolutely. So I'm a firm believer in finding what works, even if it's not in your industry. But let's say it's in a parallel industry where you can draw from the data that we're seeing. So there's a reason that companies send you ads into your inbox constantly. They want you to see what insert company. I don't want to make it seem like I'm plugging any company, but insert company name every week, every other week, because there's something about seeing the consistency of those brands that gets you interested. And I think the same is true. Don't send updates every week. Be clear. But I think the same is true when you're sending those updates, because this, I may have met a founder, a CEO once or twice, and, they maybe sent me their pitch deck. But as they start sending me those monthly or quarterly reports, I get more interested. And the way sometimes you'll know, founders, that a VC is getting interested is because they may email you back after one of those and say something like, wow, great traction. Keep up the good work. Or keep doing your thing. Congratulations. That means they're opening them, they're reading them, and something is kind of starting to spark their interest. Okay. That's the first thing. The second thing, to your point, Zach, about companies feeling like, well, it's not the hockey stick effect. Your company is where it is. The results you have are the results you have for now. Always figure out ways to improve and get better, but be proud and confident with where you are today. You started the business, you're growing the business, you're trying to get better day over day, week over week, month over month, hour over hour. Be proud of what you're doing, put it out there with confidence, and watch it continue to get better. And there will be someone out there that believes in you, your story, your product, something, some aspect of what you're doing that will take interest. But you've got to go out with what you are, right? Because if you keep saying, oh, let me wait, look, I had a baby June 2024. I think I was in a bathing suit in, I don't know, because it is what it is. This is where I am today. Where I'm going to be next year, yeah, great. And the year after that. But be who you are today. Go out in your swimsuit today, because that's what you've got. Go out, be proud of it, and jump in the pool.
All right, let me go get my banana hammock. Stand by.
But you understand what I'm saying. I know that was like a parable, but you get what I'm saying, founders. Come on. You've worked too hard to hide it in the closet. Don't do that. Don't do that. Be smart. Don't throw any old thing out there. Try to package it well, but don't work hard and then hide it lay it under the bowl. Come on now. Like, let people see your light. Let it shine. Let's go.
Yeah. It's very interesting. Like, Tim and I just listened to a couple of podcasts, one with Jelly Roll, who has, skyrocketed. Mm-hmm. Actually, I haven't listened to that episode yet. And then one is with John Cena, who WWE just retired. And it's just like, I am where I am. If I want to get there further, like, I got to keep pushing. And like, so much of what you're talking about, like, makes me think about this guy who's been in this business for so long. He's like, oh, I love this, but I'm living out of my car. I'm like, well, damn, it's crazy.
Wow.
But like he's in the moment, and he's living that. He's wearing his bikini. He's wearing his swimsuit.
That's it.
I don't know why, when did that change though? Like, it's because I feel like Tim's who he is. Z the VC is. Who they are. I'm clearly me. I mean,
Who
look,
they are. I'm just a she. Who they are. I'm just one.
well, if I
Yeah.
just, if I just spoke incorrectly, I apologize.
Well, I mean, it's just the thing.
to
You just got to put yourself out there, and you can't be, you have to have fun. You can't be afraid to fail. I mean, they're just to
Exactly.
bring everything back to around about how we started the show. I mean, when we first booked the Sandler Center for the World Cup and we saw how big it was, we were like, what did we get ourselves into? But we just had to lean in, and we worked it and worked it and worked it. And we had 742 people that were in attendance.
Absolutely.
So,
yep. And just, that confidence piece, right? Like as you put yourself out there, as you send out these quarterly reports or monthly reports, you'll get better. You'll get better. They'll get better every time, right? Just be confident, move forward, do what you need to do, and just, try as best as you can to move forward, pretty fearlessly, because that's what it takes to run a company, right? You have to do that.
Is there one section or one topic within a monthly status report or quarterly report that you're drawn to?
Oh, good question. I mean, I like to read through them in general, but I think the traction piece is interesting, right? Because it lets you know the demand.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, it signals demand, even if it's not all like it's not all about revenue for me always, because it's when you're early, you figure out how to monetize more and more, right? So there needs to be some type of revenue, because putting out something that people won't pay for versus what they will pay for is completely different. You're testing something completely different. So the learnings don't necessarily translate, but I think just the traction piece and seeing like the interest, whether it's B2B or B2C, that's always really interesting and exciting, because I know it's really exciting for the founders too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Where's one area that during due diligence that you see most commonly where founders get tripped up?
During what stage? You mean like early conversations or we're deep down into due diligence?
I'll let you. I mean, you pick, but it's just one of those. I mean, another thing that I always recommend for founders is get that data library established early. And
that's good advice, because what I was going to say is just really make sure, even if you have like a CFO or somebody doing your finances, that you know your finances. That's really important. One thing that I see with early stage founders is that they understand a lot of times the product really well, which is fantastic. They get the product, they understand, who their customer is, which is great. That's something that I find that small businesses do sometimes better than high growth startups, like being close, right? Really understanding what your customers want. So, they usually have a grasp of, kind of that to an extent. But sometimes when you get into the business part, right? The business model or the financials, sometimes things get a little shaky. And maybe you have the documents, you have your income statement, you have all of those things, but really being able to speak to the numbers, but also why you made the decisions that you made within those numbers. That is always very impressive. And it lets me know, to me, it kind of separates the top performing founders and CEOs. It lets me know that you are in that CEO mindset, because you can really talk critically about that. Also, I think people having a grasp of the competition. Sometimes I don't think founders have a good grasp of the competition, because the competition can sometimes be substitutes too, right? Not someone no one is doing what I'm doing. Well, maybe not exactly to a T, the exact thing that you're doing, but what would make customers choose this option over yours? So even if it's a substitute, right? And so just really being mature enough to say, look, one, I'm deep into these financials and I understand why we made the decisions that we made moving forward. And we understand that we have to make choices, particularly early, because we have to continue to prove ourselves out. And then two, I'm very well aware of my competition or where my customer could be going to get this solution. And here's how we're going to mitigate them going to, potential competitors. I think if you get strong, if you get really strong in those areas, you're doing very well as a founder when you come in to pitch.
As you talk about competitors, it just made me think about a couple of things. So I've heard this, I never fact checked it, but like Burger King just goes catty corner to McDonald's, and probably KFC does the same thing. So they're all in the same geographical area. I think people would generally say, fast food restaurants are all the same. But from the substitute aspect of that, how deep would you go? And I know this is just like food from this perspective, but
Sure.
would you say a bank is something, or other retail that you're passing from a fast food perspective is actually their competitors too, because they're taking that time away from that? And so when I wrote Anomaly, however many years ago, I was trying to figure out how many advertisements you see a day.
Mm-hmm.
And what was shocking to me is that you saw 5,000 ads a day, right? And so you're driving by each of those restaurants, those are an ad. So do you think when you're talking about those substitutes, it's also everything you're driving by? Oh, now it's the mall, now it's that person. And so all of those things are actually kind of in that retail mindset. So they're taking that space away. Is that how you look at the substitutes, or how do you kind of
Good question.
think through that from other businesses? It's easy to see from a retail perspective, but how deep are we going on those substitutes?
Well, I'm going to stay with the fast food example since we've gone here, because I think that's actually a really good example. So I would say, look, that's a good point. Anything that could take your focus away from getting to the KFC or the Burger King or the McDonald's, that's technically something that, kind of takes the customer off the path. But the assumption is they're going to that place when they're hungry. They're really hungry. They want to get some food as opposed to want to go get some shoes from the Nike store, or want to go get some jewelry from the whatever store, right? So if the assumption is they are on the hunt, because hopefully as a founder, you are solving a pain pill problem, not a vitamin problem. Because if you're solving a vitamin problem, they might go over here and go over there and do whatever. But if you're solving a pain pill problem, my stomach is hurting, I'm having hunger pains, I'm going to the McDonald's to get food. To me, those substitutes would be, so maybe it's not a fast food restaurant, but here's a fast casual, I think that's what they call it, casual dining place, where maybe it's just a little bit more expensive, but the food is good. Oh, you know what? Whole Foods has a hot bar. You know what? I was thinking fast food, but maybe I'll just drop into Whole Foods. Then I can choose whatever I want off the hot bar, So those to me would be more the substitutes. Oh, there's a gas station right here, and they have these protein shakes. And these protein shakes, they crave, they get rid of your cravings or whatever, right? So that's more of how I'm thinking about substitutes, right? Something that's kind of at least in the wheelhouse, right? I think it's I remember the case study with Coca-Cola, where one of their competitors was coffee, right? Because it keeps you up, even though it's not a soda. So that's kind of the wheelhouse I'm thinking about.
Things have happened really, really fast in the AI world, and so we have to bring up the AI thing. Really, we don't have to go deep in it, but my thing is, so we went from a time of it was unheard of to then everybody started putting that in their pitch deck, because that would guarantee that you get a meeting, or it would bump your valuation up by whatever amount, to now all of a sudden it's just like, if you're not using AI, then there's probably something wrong with your company. And I don't even want to talk to you anyway. What is your general thought in terms of that? Do you just expect that companies are using AI now, or what's your thought?
I think that companies need to be very thoughtful. I expect a company to have an AI strategy of sorts, right? And so how they're going to implement AI to move faster, to grow, bigger, larger, to maybe reduce headcount in the times that it's necessary, to deliver quicker to your customers. Like, I need to know that there's some type of AI strategy, because AI is here. And if you're not utilizing AI in some way, I think you're lacking an advantage, right? And so I think you have to be using AI. Now, here's the thing though. I need to know that you're solving a real problem,
Right.
because what happened with AI is that people started realizing it started lowering the barrier to entry to creating technology, if you will, right? And so people were like,
Hmm.
"Oh, I've got this app for this. I can go on, whatever, Lovable, where Replit, where whatever, right? I have this app, I have this software. There's this problem I'm solving." And what happened was people started building really cool product and really cool things, and they present it to you, and you're like, "That's cool." But then when you started digging down deeper, you're like, okay, what problem are you solving and for who? And how big is this market? And like, is this a real problem, or is this just a cool feature you were able to, put onto this, LLM or whatever? And so you need to be utilizing AI in a way that makes your foundational business run better and faster and all of those things. But you also need to make sure you're solving that real root problem that people are going to come flocking to you for, that businesses are going to flock to you for. Because otherwise, sure, like create an app, put it in the app store, maybe make a couple dollars on it, but it's probably not investable if there's no like deep, real business underneath it. Like if I were to take the AI away, what is your business?
Right.
Right.
I
So
really, I appreciate that thoughtfulness, and I wanted founders to hear that, because you all hear pitches and see businesses all day, every day. You've been around the block a couple of times,
yeah.
so it's just like you can't play. You can't just use this buzzword bingo kind of thing and expect to get the meeting and get the valuations that match. I mean, you've seen it, so
Yeah.
I'm glad they were able to hear it from you.
We're past that wave, Tim. Like maybe at one
Yeah.
point, maybe years ago, but like no,
Right.
not anymore.
Yep.
Not anymore.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
just like to say that it's December 18th, 2025. I've never heard the pain pills versus vitamin.
You had never heard that?
You
No,
haven't.
no, and I love it. Like, I was like, oh, that's
Yes.
good. That's good.
Because what you say is a person gonna wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning to go
Mm.
get a vitamin? Probably not. But if that headache is bad enough, that person will get out of their bed at 3 a.m. to go get the Tylenol or the Advil, whatever. And so you want to be solving that type of problem.
I've heard solving pain points and things like that, but like never that way. I love it.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Mhm.
Stealing it, Z the VC.
Yes.
Having the ability to say no a lot, is that in your nature, or is that something you had to learn how to do?
That's a great question. I don't mind saying no. Let
Well,
me
it's
start there.
just at the end of the day, I mean, you've got to show returns. You report to LPs. They want to see
Yeah.
returns. So it's
Well, here's the thing. You know, First of all, let's talk about my nature. I'm a woman. I think we like saying no. 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 No, but look, let me tell you why I don't mind saying no to founders. Is because it's about fit.
yeah,
If we're not the right fit, you don't want us to be your partner either, right? And so no doesn't mean, please take this
right.
in, founders, with as much openness as you can. No does not mean you don't have a good company, you're not a great founder, you aren't onto something revolutionary. That is not what no means. Okay? No might mean this isn't a good fit for our portfolio, this fund, or we are already 3 years into our fund and you are a pre-seed company and our companies have grown up a bit. And so we can't take any more pre-seed companies. Or it
Yep.
may, like, it's just so many things that it can be. It can mean we have too many series insert, whatever, we
Hmm.
need a few more pre-seed or seed to balance the portfolio. Like, so please do not take it as a personal attack if a VC says no. It may have nothing to do with your company right now. The hope is that I'm working on this and I've put it out to my VC community. You can see a whole LinkedIn post about it. VCs, we need to get quicker about getting to know. We do. I think it's because when we see a founder that's passionate and that's driven, we are like rooting for you, and we're looking during due diligence. We're looking for reasons. A lot of times during due diligence, sometimes we're looking for reasons to like keep going. Let's keep going with the due diligence, right? So as opposed to having one meeting with you and deciding yes or no, it's like, okay, well, let's have another, and okay, let's go deeper, and let's go deeper, and like let's find reasons. Okay, I like this, about this founder. I like this about what they're doing. Sometimes when you get to the end, it's just like, we can't make it work. VCs need to get a no faster, because it is hard to say no all day. We've got to do better at that.
Yeah.
But hey, you say no because I believe it's in the best interest of everybody if it's not going to be a good fit.
Yeah. And that was really the primary reason why I wanted to ask what the thesis was for your, early, just to establish that. But I would think that from your standpoint, the hardest no probably has to be a portfolio company that just thinks they're automatically going to get follow-on funding when they raise their next round. That's got to be brutal because not everyone can get it. I mean, I'm sure that there's a percentage of companies that may get follow-on funding. And so
I know. And the founders get pretty upset. And I get it. Like, I totally get it. But it's like when you have a portfolio, and I don't know why I'm speaking with analogies today. It's like the end of the year, but you have like all these kids in your portfolio. And look, I don't believe, let me clarify, your business. I don't believe your business is your baby. I know founders always get me when I say that. I don't believe your business is your baby. I don't believe your work people are necessarily your family. But use this analogy. You have all of your favorite children in this portfolio together, right? You have all of your favorites. Certain ones need certain things depending on what stage they're in, right? So a 2-year-old and a 12-year-old need a different amount of food depending on the growth, right?
Yep.
And where they're going. And so think about it like that. We can't give everything to everyone. We would love to, but we don't have unlimited funds. And so you are right, Tim. It is so tough when we have to tell a portfolio company no. And like a lot of times the founders will get a little upset. That's why you want to make sure you have a good relationship, because they may get a little upset, but
I'm sure that's part of your portfolio management as well. I mean, you probably have identified that we're only X% of our fund can go to follow-on funding. And then it's just, and that's just based on, I don't know, top 10, top 20% of performers. And just, unfortunately, you're not there.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make it any easier to say that.
It doesn't. No, and sometimes I might leave that part out specifically, but they leave that out.
But as I hear that, like, that's to me the business being naive that money is just free and there and available. Like, my guess is if things were really going great to the extent that they were, you're not going to not. You will give them that capital in that case. But yes, but like, I think a lot of times, and look, and that's happened in my business career. I remember there was a big fat check that I was expecting one time, and it was actually there, and then it got pulled, and I was like, and it was my fault, and I had to learn from that example. And it took a couple months to recover, but then that check got a lot bigger, which was great. But it's like, don't be like, I feel like sometimes the theme of some of the stuff is like, don't be a donkey. Like, don't just assume that these things are there. And it's like, just because someone said it there until they actually show up. Like, ask someone for $1, but then ask, and they say yes, and then ask them to pull it out. That's a completely different conversation, right? And so it's like, the check cashes.
Right.
It ain't
That's
real.
True. Well, I mean, I think we try to be very mindful. Like, if we say we're going to do something, if we say we're in for this, we really try to be in for that thing. But I think sometimes the assumption is like, hey, we're raising another round. We want all of our investors to participate again. Can you each put in at least 100,000? And we're like, I don't know. We've got to do that diligence, because at the end of the day, every investment we make, we have LPs, right? And they come to us and say like, why did you think this one was a good investment? If anything ever goes down, we have to pull the memo. So we have to do memos. So even when we are making a reinvestment, when we're doing follow-on capital, there's a memo that goes along with that, just like the first due diligence memo. Now, of course, we already know enough about the team and the founders and things like that, but we do have to do a memo on, why we believe we want to make another investment. And so I tell founders all the time, they're like, you don't understand. We've been raising for, I'm sorry, no one sings it. People just say it normally. I'm just being dramatic, but we've been raising for, 12 months, 18 months. Let me tell y'all something. I started with Idea Fund Partners in May of 2023. We were raising, and now we're closing the fund. I have never not known raising capital.
Yeah.
The same could be said though for just like understanding why your customer is staying a customer or not. Right? Like, okay, like I pay a monthly telephone bill and I'm easy there for convenience, but actually at some point, like I'm not actually happy over here. It's just convenient. I'm ready to go over here. Like I find that businesses need to question everything a hell of a lot more, and they would be better off in their business. Like, wouldn't you want to know that, like, hey, like 18 months ago was why this customer wanted to leave, but because it's convenient enough, because the recurring is already set, but they're ready to leave whenever they see that right ad with Ryan Reynolds telling them to, you know, switch on over. Like, I feel like there's a lot of businesses like that, but the convenience aspect of it is why. It's why you don't go somewhere else.
Okay, but let me just say, we have a portfolio company by Andrew Yang called Noble Mobile. So switch on over to Noble Mobile, not Ryan Reynolds situation. Switch on over to Noble Mobile. Okay.
Right, well, let's get Mr. Yang to maybe have some better commercials than Mr. Reynolds.
Have you not seen them? They're great.
Well, clearly not where I'm
Look them up. Well, it's new. It's new. We gotta give it time. Go
Is
over
it
my
Andrew Yang?
Go over my the one that was the presidential candidate. They're great because the whole premise is around like because you get money back for not using your phone. So the commercials, he's like, people are like on the basketball court on their phone. Then he goes and like slaps the ball out of their hand, like, get off your phone. Slaps the phone. Get off your phone. Play basketball. They're great. They're great.
What's it called?
Noble Mobile. So for all the data that you don't use, they take the money and they put it in a high yield savings. And it just okay. But anyway, that's not what we're talking about. But to your point,
it's a good name.
Noble Mobile. To your point, Zach, yes, you're right. And that's where being really close to your customer, that's where that comes into play, right? And so understanding if they're just there for convenience, if they're starting to get disgruntled, right? Like that's super important, super, super important. And you're right. You're absolutely right.
What's something you want to talk about that we haven't talked about?
Good question. We've talked about so much. Next year, 2026. What are we looking forward to?
It's already 2027. We might as well just get to that.
It's 2027. You sound like confused because, like, I'm like, what year are we in? I don't even know. What are we excited about?
I can't tell you my secrets.
We've got some things cooking in our end.
Okay, good.
What a tease! What a tease this man is.
I know.
He says we got things cooking. I mean, is it like cookies, brownies, apple fritters? I'm not sure.
I mean, we're all
a little of everything. That's good. Okay, so we just that just means keep your eyes peeled.
That's right.
Okay, I can accept that. No, I'm excited. I mean, like, you know, for me, 2026 is about figuring out how to get even more engulfed in kind of one of my favorite aspects of VC, which is like the founder community. And so, like I told you, you know, I'm kind of Zakiya is my name, but I'm kind of under this new like Z, the VC, you know, name alias for right now. But this newsletter that I'm putting out, just finding tools and resources for helping founders, because like I said, I found myself saying so much, had I known then what I know now, I would have this with my company, right? And so just making sure that I'm able to give back in those ways and support founders as much as possible and help them to grow. That's very important to me in 2026. And the other piece is like democratizing investing a little bit. So just finding ways to bring on individuals who are ready to start into VC investing, but they're not really ready to say like, hey, I want to put away $100,000 or $200,000 or $300,000 for 10 years. But like, hey, I've got a little $5,000 over here, 10,000. I wouldn't mind investing in these companies. So just finding really creative ways to do that through Idea Fund Partners, because I think that's really important. People are interested, but they want to start slowly.
Yeah. Typically we end every show with asking our guests what the food of the region or their favorite restaurant of the region. But I don't know if you can answer that. You've only been to Virginia a couple of times.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to tell us where to go in Raleigh.
Favorite food in Virginia?
Or in Atlanta, or down you in North Carolina, you know.
I mean, you mean like mom and pop, like this is unique to Virginia.
Well,
No,
this
just
whole
what you like.
conversation started because like so many places have branded themselves over food, whether if it is like Chicago
Mm,
deep dish pizza or Detroit style or buffalo
mm.
chicken, buffalo wings, I mean, like, but it's just like Virginia, we seem to be like the melting pot. I'm not trying to lead the witness here,
Oh
but it's just like,
yeah.
what is Virginia really known for in
See,
terms
that's what
of,
I was gonna like ask. I don't know what y'all are known for. Can you
yeah,
help me? Can y'all tell me? Can you give me like three things you're known for, or three things that are really good, and then let me choose?
well,
This is the last episode. Like this is, it
yeah,
needs to be
it's
different.
so a lot of people have talked about seafood or crab cakes, but it's just like I feel like we're competing against Maryland, when it
Oh
comes
yeah. Oh
to
yeah.
that.
Mm.
The Orange Crush has been something that has come up.
Okay.
Um, and then something that is just I don't think that you can really brand a region over is the Mexican restaurants. They have, in addition to salsa, they have this white sauce to go with the chips. But
Oh, that sounds yummy. Yeah,
yeah,
It
I
is good.
don't know. I'm a vegan, so I feel like I mess everything up. My favorite thing about Virginia is, well, growing up as a kid. So I used to go every year. I have cousins in Richmond. And my favorite, sorry if this isn't food, but my favorite thing about Virginia used to be King's Dominion. Let me
I
just
knew
tell
you were
you.
gonna say
mm,
it.
I'm
I could
sorry.
feel
It's
you
just
saying it. I could
when
feel
we
it.
get this like unlimited pass situation
oh yeah,
and like the roller coasters, the food there, the fries and the
Funnel cakes.
funnel cakes, the cotton candy.
Okay, so favorite. Okay, so we'll switch it up. Favorite roller coaster at King's Dominion.
Oh my gosh, what was the one? Come on
I think
now, that was a
the
long time ago.
Intimidator.
The one with like all it wasn't the one with the ups and downs. It was the one loop de loop de loop de loop de loop. Do
Okay,
we
so
know?
Anaconda,
The
volcano.
anaconda. That's it.
Got it. Okay.
My anaconda don't want that.
That's what I
Okay.
was thinking, right?
I feel like
You
if
can
you were
do
to,
side bends or sit ups, right?
But please don't lose that. I know all
I
the words
was
to that song,
I
by the
was
way.
thinking the hit flick with Jennifer Lopez called Anaconda.
Maybe
Um,
yeah. Well, I'm thinking maybe we
Oh,
should end the
that's a
show
good
with
one.
what's a go-to karaoke song,
That one. Oh no, that's it.
mm.
So brothers is the
I think
brothers,
that's probably a
brothers.
good crowd pleaser. That's what
That's
I
a
was
good one.
thinking.
Oh, and what I do is I ask a few ladies in the audience, I'm like, hey, can you do the karaoke with me and be my backup dancer? And they're like, sure. And so we get on stage and I rap all the lyrics and they're in the back, like, yeah, it's like a whole situation. It is my favorite. My husband is like, okay.
I'm here for it. I need to see this. I'd like to see some video proof. Sounds lovely. As a retired karaokean, congratulations on you figuring out your backup dancers and all that nonsense.
Mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm.
there is no retirement tour. I'm done. And
What was your favorite song? Just give us
uh,
that. I know we're over time.
nope.
I'm just thankful I was able to see the performance once before you retired.
Oh, nice. Okay, so you're gonna leave us in suspense. That's fine.
Tease all around. Z the VC, we appreciate your time. This has been absolutely mind blowing and lovely. Hope to see you again in 2026 and 2027 at a theater near you? Question mark. All right.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Toodles.